Mr. Investor Lot, welcome back to the channel, baby. Today I want to talk about bionano genomics and their growth and revenue that is predicted by analysts across the internet over time. So over the next few years, I want to see what they're working on, how they're going to initiate this. Also, if we look at the amount of institutions that are long, there's 129 institutions that are long. 4 are short only, and 9 of them are long and short. We have a total of 142 institutional investors right now. That's 15% institutional shares. And with the Wall Street bets, apes and gorillas throwing that cash money in the air, we could still be seeing a short squeeze happening soon. Particularly that the short volume ratio is currently at 15% according to Fintel, so we could be seeing a little squeezy squeeze over the next few weeks. I don't know if this is going to happen or when this is going to happen, but if Wall Street Bets actually stops deleting our posts and they actually read the DD for bionano genomics, they will realize the potential of this company. Shout out to Soup, welcome to Cytopia. First of all, before we go into growth and revenue and all these different analysts, let's look at the number of Sapphires installed. 108 according to Soup, and I want to show you 2 latest installations. Shout out to Obi for sharing this, thank you my brother. As we can see here, bionano genomics has just installed another Sapphire, this time in Athens. So as we can see here, Esther Takas has said the first bionano genomics Sapphire is now in Athens and it's ready to serve. So installation and training completed. One of the biggest things that stopped us during 2020 was the pandemic, and now that C-19 is starting to subside, we can now start to travel into certain places. Eventually places will start to lift as well. Their travel ban will come off the red list, the blacklist. We can go across and install and finish off those sales. Right now we could have shipped plenty of machines, but we haven't trained up the staff. We haven't installed that Sapphire there in their base. We also could have taken many orders. We could have sales in the pipeline, and we can't even go into other countries and actually make sure that we implement the installation and training. So until they're installed, that's what we're waiting for, Sapphire installations. Thank you Evsta or Aoife. One of the things I wanted to show you guys as well is we were in Athens right recently. We're in Athens, but before that she previously posted that on the 12th of May we were there in Cyprus too. So we actually have an installation over there in Cyprus. With this new hiring and getting Jason on board, Jason Pryor as our chief commercial officer, we're going to start to see sales skyrocket. This is what I believe is going to happen. I think this man has the capability to push bionano genomics to its full potential alongside great management, the great team that we have. And as we can see, his words right here, optical genome mapping with Sapphire is something I believe has the potential to disrupt healthcare by making structural variation analysis just as accessible and routine as next generation sequencing. Imagine that, built into guidelines. It's routine, part of routine care. So this guy managed to help GeneDx's revenue grow from $8 million to $225 million. But let's take a look at what the analysts are thinking in terms of revenue and growth of the company. So this is a website called Chartmill, and I wanted to see what they saw here from their analysis of bionano genomics. So they gave bionano genomics a score, a growth rating of 9. They're expecting strong growth in earnings per share, but also, this is what I'm interested in too, the revenue is expected to grow by 89.88% on average over the next 5 years. This is a very strong growth. Very. They also stated that when comparing the growth revenue rate of the last 5 years to the growth rate of the upcoming 5 years, we can see that growth is accelerating. And over on this chart here, we can see yearly revenue versus estimates. Let's take a look here. All of the yellows are estimates, right? So for 2020, they estimated $8 million in growth. They got 8.5 million according to this site. $16 million, 16.6 million for 2021 is the estimate. They believe 2022 will hold nearly $30 million. It will then jump in 2023 to $58 million. And by 2024, we'll see 107 million. And 2025 plus, we'll be seeing $200 million in annual revenue. This is their estimates, right? So let's take a look at another site. This is another site called Simply Wall Street. Let's take a look at what they're predicting. Just below me, they're saying that revenue is forecasted to grow at 55.91% per year. So it's still a strong amount of revenue growth. And if we scroll diddly down, we'll go to future growth here. They're forecasting also 29.1% annual earnings growth. Alright, so if we take a look at this chart here, we can see earnings and revenue growth forecasts. So by the end of 2021, December 31st, they're stating at that year end, $16.4 million per year is their estimate for revenue. By 2023, they're expecting $29 million per year in revenue. 2024, $57 million in revenue. And by 2025 onwards, you can see it's now starting to go exponential, baby. We're starting to get that growth curve up. $109 million in expected revenue. And by the end of that year, they're expecting, because of global adoption, lots of sales of the Sapphire machine, lots of different use cases springing up, optical genome mapping getting built into guidelines, $211 million in revenue per year. In terms of the general markets and industries, take a look at these analyst future growth forecasts on Simply Wall Street. They're stating that Bionano Genomics as a company, 29.1% predicted growth. The industry of life sciences in total will be about 10% per year. And this is in terms of earnings growth, right? If we take a look at their annual revenue growth, they're expecting Bionano Genomics 55.9% annual revenue growth. The industry will be lagging behind at 7.6% roughly on average. And the general market across the United States of America, they're expecting to have 9.2% annual revenue growth. Some of the points they made here is they believe that BNGO is not going to be profitable for the next 3 years. And I understand that because they're focusing on growth. These guys have been on a hiring spree for months now in so many different regions. They've even been hiring across Europe as well, maybe to build out over here a CLIA certified lab or the equivalent for European standards. But we can see here there's so many jobs, so many hires. And because BNGO, they expect to be unprofitable over the next 3 years, let's see if BNGO can survive that. I believe we can. In terms of financial health, according to Simply Wall Street, you can see here that they're sitting on a war chest of $370 million. Got all those assets, baby. Their liabilities are minimized at $7 million. In terms of their assets, all that cash and short-term investments, imagine they are sitting on a juicy amount of shmoolah. Simply Wall Street has said BNGO has sufficient cash runway for more than 3 years based on its current free cash flow. BNGO has sufficient cash runway for more than 3 years if free cash flow continues to reduce at historical rates of 19% each year. If we jump back to Chartmill as well, let's take a look. Financial health is at 8 out of 10. BNGO is one of the better placed companies in its industry to meet its short-term obligations. Also, across the sites, we're seeing this buy consensus of 100% strong buy. I also want to go back in time to this TipRanks article here by Marty Strubel. Bionano Genomics is set to execute in 2021, says Analysts. If we scroll down, he was talking about the analyst Kevin DeGeeta from Oppenheimer. And Kevin was saying that 2021 is largely an execution year for Bionano Genomics. He was stating that they believe that there's going to be broader adoption of Sapphire for de novo sequencing and research applications. Furthermore, we expect 2021 to be an important year for adoption of Sapphire for clinical cytogenetics. We're going to replace all the industry traditional techniques. We're going to be the new gold standard. And, which is controversial, if Simon was reading this, thank you Simon, man. Simon from ARK Invest, read this, brother. He was saying, Kevin DeGeeta, that we do not believe long read sequencing technologies can replicate Sapphire's performance and cost structure for digital cytogenetics testing. At that time, I don't know what it was back in December 2020. It must have been in the cent range, maybe 60, 70 cent or something like that. But he was basically saying, Kevin DeGeeta, that along with a $1.5 price target at the time, he said that there's a strong upside potential of 113%. We've come a long way from 50 cents all the way up to a height of $15.69. You guys may have known me from the first time you met me. What a beautiful day. I love all of you. When you saw me at the Festival of Genomics, sneak into there. I got in there like swimwear, baby. And I've been bringing you these events ever since. I haven't been able to cover some of the recent ones, but I brought you all of the big ones. So one of the big ones was AGBT, and something that's coming up soon is they're going to be talking about agriculture and the impact of genomics in agriculture. I think we're going to be a big part of this, especially as everybody's looking on how they can feed and fuel the world. So they're looking for structural variations that are desirable in plants, and once they find these structural variations, they want to genetically edit or crossbreed some of these plants to get the best outcomes. In the Philippines, we love rice. I can eat it for breakfast, lunch and dinner, honestly. It's just what we do. It's our staple food. And I want to let you in on one of these publications recently. So on a website called Science Direct, we can see here that on the 28th of May 2021, they were talking about pan-genome analysis of 33 genetically diverse rice accessions reveals hidden genomic variations. And who did they use, Big Daddy? The Sapphire. They spoke about structural variations, gene copy number variations, and they've spoken about how these variations have enabled crop evolution, domestication, and improvement. They want to get these crops that are resistant to weather and harsh conditions. They want to grow them in these environments that's going to cost less energy as well. It's going to be more sustainable, and we're going to get some tasty rice. If you were an agriculture company and you wanted to have the best product on market, something that people will love, the texture of the rice, the flavor, the cost will be as reduced as well, so you can maximize your profit and your yields. Imagine if you could utilize genomics in order to create that product and sell to a mass audience. Well, if Sapphire can find these hidden genomic variations, let me show you actually. Bionano. If you want to find this publication, by the way, go to resources, click on publications. You guys are all great investors. You do good due diligence, and just take a read read through the publications, you will find the rice boy one. Oh yeah. 33 genetically diverse rice accessions. The Sapphire is always being utilized for different use cases. It's growing, and people are starting to understand the role structural variations play in the role of, diagnosing disease, but also identifying the most desirable traits in plants. Animals, we might even get some dinosaurs being made. Just watch out for Jurassic Park. Don't allow that to happen. Also, if we go back to revenues, I wanted to show you the Maxim Group. Mr. Jason McCarthy currently gets, I think it was an annual return of between 39% to 51%, something like that, over the companies that he analyzes, and he believes bionanogenomics is the future. And if we also look at the transcript for the financial call, if we look at the Chief Financial Officer Chris, he was talking about revenue in Q1, approximately $3.2 million, and it was up 179% from the $1.1 million they reported in the same period during 2020. We're starting to see a lot of adoption for Sapphire as well in Europe. The business of Lineagen as well, the acquisition they made, is very fruitful. Thank you to Mom, thank you to Scoop. As we can see here, you're rock and rolling bionanogenomics. And the news and the picture was also shared by Eric Holmlin. He said the Rangers are rocking tonight. The bingo votes came in, so thank you to everybody who voted, and thank you to Scoop for creating this masterpiece. So let me know your predictions in the next 5 years. What is going to happen with bionanogenomics? Are we going to be seeing this explosive growth that lots of different sites and analysts are predicting? And when we start to see earnings and revenue growth start to become exponentially bigger, look at that. Ooh, 200 mil. What do you think the stock price is going to be? I'm going to be holding bionanogenomics long term. I loved one of the comments the other day. They said, why did you set like a 5 to 8 year timeline or date for bionanogenomics? He said that some of the companies that he holds, he's held for 25 years or so, and you watch it grow to its full potential doing that. So he said holding long term is so much better if you have the time, depending your investment strategy, this and that. But for me, remember, none of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment only. I want to know your thoughts and feelings towards the growth of bionanogenomics and what you're super bullish on. A lot of people said that I forget to mention the nano nozzle, and we haven't spoken about it for a long while. But when that releases, it's going to be a game changer. Imagine taking part of the sequencing market too. Lastly, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for loving and supporting my channel. If you're able to join my channel, please click join up here. It's only 99 cents a month. If everybody joins my channel, I could literally create content and continue doing due diligence for the rest of my life and make sure that I keep you up to date with everything that I find. But if you can't do it, Mr. Investor-Lot, yes, I am wearing a vest today. I would just appreciate a like, a thumbs up, drop me some comments as well. I love to hear from you guys. I read all of my comments and I'm like, oh, that's a nice perspective that I haven't thought of yet. So thank you so much. Get in contact with me too on Twitter. You can always hit me up and tell me your thoughts and feelings there. Lastly, please remember, none of this is financial advice. It's for entertainment only, and I'm going to catch you in the next video. Mr. Investor-Lot, over and out, baby.